Okay. Ready?
Yep.
So, God of War, Trump, and B.I.G. B.I.G. give me one more chance. One more chance.
Check, 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 check.
I got that good love, girl, you didn't know. Okay. Ready?
Yes.
Here we go. What's up, brewskis? Oof. Take the glasses off. Because I don't need them.
Wow.
Yep.
Flex.
I'm a different man with the glasses off.
Okay.
No, I honestly, I feel like I'm not a glasses guy. Even though I've been having to wear them for the past couple years. Past like probably 10 years at this point.
Yeah.
I still don't feel like a glasses guy.
Why do you think that is? We're on a couch. I feel like you should get introspective.
It's just never been how I saw myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like everybody has their vision of who they are.
Are you meaning to do these double entendres right now? Because they're layering on top of each other right now.
That's what we call a triple, baby.
Wow.
That's a hat trick entendre. But I just never, it's just not the mental image of myself.
Yeah.
And it never has been.
I get that. I've always been a glasses guy.
Yeah.
That's maybe, other than the price, one of the only reasons I'm a little hesitant to get LASIK.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it changes your entire look, you know?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it really does.
What other, like, accessory could I get to make up for lack of glasses?
You could just wear non-prescription glasses from now on.
It's rough.
No, I wouldn't honestly suggest that.
No.
It's a terrible thing to do.
Ascot, maybe?
An ascot?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bandana.
Eye patch.
Eye patch. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I feel like that would be,
Counterintuitive.
counterintuitive. Yeah.
Spent a lot of money just to only use one eye.
To see, yeah.
Yeah. Let's keep brainstorming this.
Okay, all right.
Let's also get this show going. My name is Marco Dupa, and that guy right there is Adam Obesis Rodriguez.
What is up, Brewskis?
And that's Franklin L. Bowman, who's
Attorney at Paw.
Can people, is he in frame? Let's just make sure. Oh, yeah, he's definitely in frame.
He's in frame,
He's
yeah.
just sitting there.
As are our thighs, which aren't ordinarily in frame.
Mm-hmm. If you guys couldn't tell, if you're just listening, then lucky you. Or I should say unlucky you.
Yeah.
You're not getting this full-on just mantastic time. Ugh,
meaty.
thighs are out, baby.
So meaty.
But if you are watching, you're obviously going, they switched to a casting couch.
You should see what it looks like on the other side.
A lot of dicks. A lot of dicks out.
Ton. Just a ton.
Adam is moving.
I am.
And so we're gonna be here for the
I don't know where you're going with this, man. I can't bail you out.
I wanted to say the studio, but I'm not the scene, the setup.
Okay. Yeah.
There's a word that I can't remember right now.
Uh-huh.
I swear I haven't been drinking yet.
I've got nothing for you, man. I'm sorry.
The set.
The set.
The
okay.
set.
The set. Yeah.
The set is going to be fluid for the next couple of weeks as we figure out how we're going to do this. Hopefully, nothing changes as far as like the sound or the look or whatever. I mean, the look's going to be different, but you know what I'm saying.
We'll try to stay as consistent as possible in this flux time, but we appreciate you guys sticking around for it.
That's right. All right. Tonight's brew is from the Swamp Head Brewery. It's the Sun Showers. And Adam's going to have a little bit more about that after the break. What's on tap? God of War Ragnarok. We've been talking about it. We've been waiting for it. We've been counting the minutes, and it's finally out. And Adam doesn't have it yet. I finally got a game before Adam did. And I get I got to play it. I've been playing it.
Yeah.
It's literally the only thing that I've been doing. And so I'll have some non-spoilery impressions of God of War Ragnarok.
Yeah.
Also,
we also have some news that may involve not only Florida but the entire nation, as former President Donald Trump has announced that he will be running again.
yes.
There's been a lot said about our current governor, DeSantis, and sanctimonious, if you will. So we thought we'd touch on a little political corner for a minute. We've got our hand slapped a couple of times for getting a little bit too political on the show.
All right.
But I feel like, it's a major topic. We're not going to get too deep on it. Just some surface level stuff because it involves us as Floridians and, the general country as a whole.
And then a little bit more on the lighter side, depending on what side of this argument you're on. Meta, in its constant urge and goal to pull in as many people as possible and try to make Meta a real thing,
Sure.
is having some show, Meta Horizons, some kind of thing that they're doing. We'll look into it.
Concert experience.
And Diddy and Biggie's estate, they decided to dig Biggie up one more chance, and they're gonna wheel him out, and he's gonna be part of this VR experience, the truest to life version of Biggie, other than him actually being alive. All that, and maybe more, maybe not, but we'll get to it. All right, this is episode 373 of the One Beer In podcast.
Lost to be found by someone to save you when you're down. Yes, I'm bored when it's bright out. So bored when it's bright out. 4 to 5 a.m. takes me to
All
a
right.
place where I
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the One Beer In podcast, the podcast where two brews crack open a brew. See where that one brew takes us. As I said, Marco Dupa, Adam Obesius Rodriguez.
Yeah, buddy.
Before we go any further, you want to talk a little bit more about what we're drinking tonight?
I would love to.
All right.
We have the Swamphead Brewery Session Sour Ale brewed with papaya and pineapple. It comes in at a 4.5% ABV, and we don't have a cold read, but I was able to look up a description on their official Facebook page, and it goes as follows. Introducing the newest member of our seasonal lineup, Sun Showers. Sun Showers is a beer we've been developing over the course of 2021. Some of you may have noticed a few batches with varying fruits pop up in the tasting room over the past few months, and we can't wait to share it with the entire state of Florida. Sun Showers is a session sour ale made with 100% real pineapple and papaya. We wanted our fall seasonal release to be something that you all could enjoy during some of our favorite Floridian fall activities, tailgates, days out on the water, and gatherings with friends and families. Tropical fruit sweetness balances out a sour base, and a lighter ABV makes this a totally refreshing and extremely crushable ale that you'll want to take everywhere. Sun Showers will be available in 6-packs starting today at the brewery, and keep an eye out for it as it makes its way statewide distribution for a limited time. And this was in August of 2021, so it is now statewide.
Right on.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. I like a session sour, I think, is a good idea.
Yeah, I think it makes sense, right? Mm-hmm. Light, refreshing, kind of juicy, Mm-hmm. It's nice. It's nice.
Juicy. All right. Let's get ripping and rolling. God of War. God of War Ragnarok, buddy.
Yeah.
Listen, I'll just say this. I'll keep it short and sweet. I'll keep it light and fun.
Okay. Like a session, if you will.
Like a session. It right now it's just a beautiful continuation of God of War. the reboot, soft reboot, right? It's looks amazing. Combat system feels good. Like, you know, you're switching in between weapons and stuff, and like you keep these like real nice fluid combos going.
Yeah.
Voice acting is great. Story so far is awesome. I mean, I've just got high marks across the board so far.
I will say, I'm curious because it's been pretty universally. It's been pretty universally praised, as you just did. Mm-hmm. What's something that you think hasn't hit the mark so far?
I mean, I hate to just like follow the crowd on this one, but the thing with your companions talking too much, it is extremely noticeable.
Yeah. Infamously, anytime you're on fire, it tells you you're on fire.
Yeah. Well, what's really funny about that is even they understand how dumb it is for them to say that, because there's times where like Artreus has told me I'm on fire, but then he'll go, but I'm sure you already knew that. And it's like, yeah, I did know that.
Please stop.
So why are you saying it?
Yeah.
It's more the puzzles, though. That's the problem. The part of the beauty of God of War is you know, just the creative puzzles within the sphere of the game. You don't have to like, you know, it's not Uncharted. You're not like trying to solve riddles and shit. You're just trying. Well, they're like physical riddles. You're trying to like traverse different areas, and you need to figure out how to do it.
Yeah.
And the way that they do it is like, you know, you've got to, for instance, you've got to freeze this water canal here so that the water is blocked off and it drops into another spot that opens this thing that opens that door, that so on and so forth.
Typical video game stuff.
Right. And for some reason, I guess because people were babies about it last game, but your companions, I mean, within seconds of you encountering a puzzle, they're like, you should probably knock that thing over. And it's like, Jesus Christ,
Did you
man.
see that up there?
Yeah, dude. It's,
Idiot.
I when I was reading about people complaining about it, I thought, it can't be that bad. It is that bad. It's so noticeable that me, someone who usually just plays the game as is, doesn't really mess around with a lot of stuff, I was looking in the menu screen of like, how do I turn this tutorial off? How do I turn them off? And you can't turn them off.
Yeah.
All you can do is like extend the timer between when they say something. They will say it, and that they're just gonna say it.
Yeah.
And you just have to deal with it. And it's kind of a bummer because it's like, then don't even put the puzzles in the game if they're just gonna tell me how to solve them.
Well, the good thing is that was an issue with Horizon Forbidden West.
Yeah.
And they were able to patch it so it's not as bad. So
I think that's what they're going to do with this, because they have heard people complaining about it. It's all over Reddit, it's all over Twitter, so they definitely know that it's a problem.
Yeah,
it's an issue. Anything that hasn't hit the mark other than that? Well, you know, the thing is, here's an interesting thing. It's like it's a direct sequel to the last game, right? Mm-hmm. And so in the first game, you're introduced to Artreus, and you need to set the stakes.
It's Atreus, right?
Atreus. What am I saying?
Artreus.
Atreus. Yeah.
He is
Atreus.
an archer, so
yeah.
Archtreus, yeah.
Is that the point?
No. It's absolutely not.
Artreus?
Archtreus.
Atreus.
Yeah. Boy.
You are introduced to him, and the emotional stakes need to be set. This father-son relationship thing is, I guess there was more. This is me nitpicking, by the way.
Sure.
There was more emotional beats in the first game because you're literally watching these two like connect with each other, and you're watching Kratos, the god of war, actually show like vulnerability, and like he's trying to you're watching the cracks in the armor fracture in real time. And in this one, the emotional beats are different, but they're just not really, I guess, as emotional because you already have gotten to know these guys, and you're really just watching this relationship kind of blossom, but they more, I guess, kind of know each other a little bit more. So it's like the stakes aren't as high.
Yeah.
But again, that's a nitpick.
Sure,
I don't want.
sure,
I
sure,
want
sure.
that. That's not like I'm just trying to think of like it's like when you're giving a job performance. And you're like, well, you got to
What
give them
could have you
something
done better?
Yeah, and it's like, I mean, right now I'm loving every minute. I don't know what they could do differently. Other than that companionship, that shit is fucking annoying.
sure.
That shit really is annoying.
I mean, if those are the only pseudo complaints, I mean, it sounds like you would recommend it.
I would highly recommend Ragnarok so far.
And I did see that there is, if for some reason you missed the first game, or the first new requel, I guess you'd call it.
Requel.
There is a recap, right?
Oh, that recap's dog shit.
Okay.
Yeah,
Alright.
I didn't.
Good to know.
I was. I just watched it out of curiosity because I just beat God of War. Well,
Yeah.
didn't just. I beat it last year, but it's fresh in my mind.
Sure.
But I just watched it out of curiosity, and it's terrible.
Yeah.
It's just like it. I mean, they give you like flashes of the shit that you're supposed to know, but no, it's not good. If you haven't played, God forbid you haven't played. If you have a PS5, you honestly have no excuse. It's on your PlayStation. It's
part
sitting
of the catalog,
there. Yeah. So just turn it on and play it.
Yeah. It's definitely worth the time.
But if you're one of these people who's like, nah, I just want to play the new hotness.
Yeah.
I would suggest going to YouTube and watching a recap video. Do not watch that recap on Ragnarok and thinking that's enough.
Okay.
You will be dazed and confused.
Good.
So,
Good to know.
Otherwise, yeah, highly recommended. Definitely play it. I'm trying to get through it. Trying to.
Well, I hear it's very long.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, well that's good.
Yeah.
I mean,
Hey, man.
I am like, will you relax?
Cut it out.
I am like maybe 10 to 15 hours into it.
Okay.
And if there's a lot more to go, I mean, it feels like we're just scratching the surface.
Well, there's a lot of apparently side quests and stuff that you can do.
Yeah.
That apparently, man, this isn't a spoiler, but you can do after you roll credits. So if you miss stuff, don't worry, you can go back.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good. Because there's some stuff where I'm like, I'm not interested in this.
I do hear though that the side quests are actually pretty good.
Yeah.
So
Just so far, they're like, there's some stuff with Atreus, for instance, where I'm like, I don't
care about you,
I don't want
boy.
to do this. I'm just not interested in this.
Yeah.
So, but you got to play it so we can kind of go into more detail about it.
I've asked for it for my birthday,
Yeah.
and
If you're waiting for that,
we'll see how that goes.
all right, we'll pick this up next month.
Okay. Good. Good. Yeah.
All right, it's time for the political circle. Squared circle.
Square.
News corner.
The
The Brews news.
bottom of the barrel.
The Brews read the news.
Politabrews.
Politabrews. We're workshopping.
Yeah.
I like Politabrews.
Politabrews works.
Politabrews.
Yeah.
Politabrews.
Need a
Yeah. Broadcast thing there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Will you please relax?
This
Okay.
guy's making me nervous.
He's nervous. That's he only does this really when come here, you fucking boy. He only does this when like there's a lot of commotion.
Yeah. Well, he is Bat Squatch famously.
Bat
so
Squatch.
I guess he just doesn't like being on camera.
I know. Look.
That's you.
All right. Politabrews. Seriously?
Please don't talk about politics. Everyone hates it.
Believe me, we hate it too.
Yeah.
But
We just have to sometimes. Okay?
sometimes, I mean, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
You know, it's just like it's one of those things. It was the midterms, and I went out there and voted reluctantly.
Oh, yeah, me too. Yeah.
Yeah. We took part in this system,
Yep.
even though more and more it feels like
It doesn't matter. Especially in this state.
yeah. Oh, big
Especially.
big time in this state.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so funny that Florida used to be considered a swing state.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, swing what? Red to redder?
Pink to red. Yeah,
There ain't
yeah.
no fucking swing in this state no,
No.
more, man. There ain't
Absolutely
been,
not.
No,
No,
there ain't
no,
been
no.
swing in this state since probably Obama. If you think about it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, think what you will about the man, but DeSantis absolutely killed it.
Crushed.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
He runs this fucking state.
It sure does.
Literally and figuratively.
Yeah.
He runs this joint.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was a foregone conclusion to the
Yeah.
point where I was like, what's
We
the
all
point?
we
of
all
being-
knew that though, right?
Yeah.
So
I don't think there was any confusion or
no,
discussion.
it was
on
just
that one.
it was just confirmation of
formality,
how,
that's all it was.
It was confirmation of how strong a grip he has on Florida.
Yeah.
Which leads us to the topic at hand, aspirations for the presidential race, and also a little bit of contention with our boy Trumpy.
Yeah, that's right.
So
Trumpty Dumpty had a fall. They made such a big deal about that because they were like, Newsweek. It's not Newsweek. It's the New York Post. Is it the Post? I can't remember who did that cover, but it's somebody who apparently was in Trump's back pocket, and now they're like,
Rupert Murdoch.
Rupert
right?
Murdoch. Yeah.
But which apparently he flip flopped on now, and apparently now even like Fox News is giving somewhat favorable headlines to Trump, saying like, he giving a bit more excitement about him running again, even though there's still some contention there. Because even with that, even with a little bit of a little sprinkle of Trump biscuits that they give him in the corner, they're also very favorable to DeSantis.
Yeah.
Saying like,
I mean, they got to hitch their wagon to a winner, and I think right now they're hedging their bets.
Well, and that's kind of what I wanted to talk about was as two guys who generally lean left, who don't really have a dog in this fight necessarily, except for him. What are your thoughts on the two of them going at it? Like, where do you think this is going, and who do you think is the stronger bet at this point?
My thing is
For the Republican Party, obviously.
Yeah, I think just from a casual standpoint, just a casual onlooking standpoint, of right-wing politics, I just don't see, especially with what happened in the midterms.
Yeah.
I think they said Trump endorsed somewhere in the hundreds of candidates.
Yeah.
And I mean, he had a success rate of like, I don't know, 10%, 5%. I think only like 3 or 4 of his candidates won.
Yeah. But he said himself, you can't blame him for that.
Yeah. If they won, then he should deserve all
Right.
the credit.
Exactly.
But if they lost, which they did, he's like, you can't blame me.
Sure.
I deserve all the credit. But when they lose, have you seen I guess we can talk about it if we talk about SNL. Well, the guy that they got to do Trump on SNL now,
Yeah.
James Austin Johnson.
Uh-huh. Yeah, he was big on Twitter and
Yes,
stuff.
I started following him on Twitter because
Yeah.
he would just be walking with his phone and doing the impression.
Yeah.
And the thing that really got me was when he would do like the sniff, and I was like, man, this guy,
That's great.
He's a really his impression is probably the best it's definitely the best that they've done. Wow.
Nice.
The best that they've done on SNL.
Yeah.
I mean, Alec Baldwin's impression was fun, and it's a good impression, but it's just like it's made better because it's Alec Baldwin, and he's this huge star,
Yeah.
and he's the one doing the impression. So he's not an impressionist per se. He's just had a knack for doing Trump.
Didn't shoot anybody yet.
Not yet.
Yeah.
They're back to doing that movie, and nobody's died
Rough.
yet again.
Who's gonna see it?
Who's gonna go? Yeah, right.
Who's gonna go see Rust?
Yeah, I don't know why they're continuing that. Well, I mean, honestly, people will go see it just because of the I think they'll go see it because of the story. I think they'll go see it because they're like, oh, this is the movie where he killed somebody. And they'll go like looking for the frame in which he killed someone.
Right.
Like, is it like it's probably going to be a scene where he's pointing directly at the camera and you're like, oh, that was the murder
They've got to
scene.
cut that though, right? They've got to cut that scene.
I'm sure they do.
Yeah.
Like when Brandon Lee died during The Crow, they cut that scene. All right, see, you know what? I love you so much, but
You got to go.
yeah, you're making it a thing. You know, there you go. See, you're
Perfect.
comfortable. So his James Austin Johnson's impression is incredible.
Fantastic.
But back to Trump. It's the gravel that I can't do because it's like it's hard to balance.
It comes from like in his chest.
Yeah. It's like old New York, but then he's such a character. And you got to do both, and it's hard to maintain both.
And it's nasally too.
Yes, and you got to do. He's got this weird cadence, this knowing. You know, I know that you know that I know.
Yeah.
It's a hard impression.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people do it. It's goofy and it's like it's easy to do a surface level one where if I bust that out at a party, people go, Trump.
Yeah.
But it's hard to do like a good one.
Yeah.
You ever hear Jamie Foxx's impression?
Yeah. Oh, incredible.
This is crazy good. It's crazy.
Jamie Foxx is just a
Fake
great
news
impressionist.
Yeah.
He does a lot of people really well.
He does. His are good. His are good. So yeah, my thoughts from a casual political.
Don't beat around the bush. Come on.
Yeah. So, I think barring anything crazy happening, like Trump is saying, like I've got all kinds of crazy shit on DeSantis that I might start leaking. Barring any of that actually being anything of substance or note, I think DeSantis has just got this in the bag. I think with everything that's happened in the past 4 years, with the insurrection, with this bloodbath that Trump took in the midterms, with more and more people disavowing him, the whole stolen election thing now becoming this fringy QAnon kind of
more fringe.
Yeah.
The January 6th stuff, like all of that is now being pushed
right
further
because
and further to
these
the
people
edge.
who may have even participated they've been able to get out scot-free, right? And so now they're like distancing themselves from it. So if you're somebody like Ted Cruz or Lindsey Graham or anybody, like the fact that you can get out from under that and continue your political career, you're like, well, I don't want to go back to that. I don't want to be associated with that shit again. So they're all distancing themselves. Even Fox has distanced themselves from Trump. I think and I was just reading an article while we were like kind of looking this up a little bit. I mean, he's losing donors by the day. As soon as he announced his presidency, they're all like, nah.
Not anymore.
And I mean,
we got a new golden boy.
And his first, he's out there and he does. He told I read something where apparently his representatives told news stations he's going to go for a clean 30 minutes. So they're like, all right, we'll carry his announcement live. It goes for like 45 minutes. And they all cut. They had to cut. Which is not a good look. It's not a good look to like it. He shoots himself in the foot when he does shit like this because now it looks like he's not important enough to continue to watch.
It shows that they don't care as much anymore.
Right.
And I mean, even quote unquote liberal media outlets have been covering him less and less.
Liberal news.
I think they've learned now that the more attention they give him, the more powerful he becomes. So,
he's like this.
More
attention, more eyes.
It's like Nightmare on Elm Street, like if you don't believe in him, he's less powerful.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Is
that a metaphor for life? The less you believe in someone, the less powerful they are.
Kinda, a little bit. Yeah, I think so.
I think yeah, right.
Yeah. Life is just Freddy Krueger,
Yeah.
Perception is reality. But yeah, no, I agree 100%. I think the writing's on the wall, and I think, unfortunately for the right, they've built this monster, and it's been discussed before that they have lost the control of that monster,
Yeah.
and so, unless somebody is able to get through to him, I can only see him sinking, or trying to at least sink any aspirations that DeSantis has of taking it,
Yeah.
and it just splitting the vote. Because a lot of people are now saying that he's going, Trump, is going to run as an independent.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just because he's become somewhat of a persona non grata, which would only help the left.
Yeah.
So a lot of people, obviously it's way too early to tell, but a lot of people are saying this may be the end of this like modern conservative push, and the pendulum's going to swing back for the left.
Yeah.
But,
Well, at least for this next election cycle,
Yeah.
because the midterms were supposed to be this red wave. They were supposed to
Tsunami.
take the Senate. Yeah, red tsunami. They were supposed to take the Senate and the House.
right.
I'm not really a Democrat anymore, but the Democrats,
The demon rats.
they held control of the Senate by like two seats, and they lost the House. But it in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't really matter because of the way that the political system works. Look it up. But the long and short of it is, the pendulum was supposed to swing back, and if the Republicans took control of the Senate and the House, it was kind of going to be a foregone conclusion that the presidency was going to switch again.
Sure.
Now we're at a point where they barely took the House,
Right.
and we controlled the Senate. You and I,
Us. The One Beer and Podcast.
the One Baron podcast.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, if it comes down to Trump versus DeSantis for the Republican nominee, and DeSantis wins, you think Trump is just going to be like, all right, he beat me fair and square.
I'm now backing DeSantis. Do you think he would ever concede to anything?
Fuck no.
No.
Not in a million years. He would definitely just start his own thing,
Yeah.
and probably take enough votes that, like you said, he'd split and then
Yeah, there are still Trump loyalists.
yeah.
And I think there are people who will never not be Trump loyalists. They've committed themselves too deep to stop now,
Yeah.
So, yeah, again, it's too early to tell, but I can very easily see this being a net negative for the conservatives in
Yeah.
general.
You know that they're going to try to convince him to either not run, or they're going to want him to concede very quickly.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's people like him and like Biden. Like their days are a little long in the tooth. You know what I'm saying? It's not like
Little. We're electing 80-year-olds.
right.
It's ridiculous.
So it's not as if Trump loses again. Does he wait another 4 years to try to run again? No. He'd be in his mid 80s.
No way. He would try. I don't think he wouldn't try, but
Yeah, it would get to a point where it's kind of like old Bernie.
yeah. Well, it's
Sorry, Bern, but
Sorry.
he's at a point now where it's like he's just gonna keep running.
It's over. Yeah.
And
It's
it ain't
over.
happening. Yeah.
Yeah, no, and I think that's another thing in DeSantis' pocket too, is that he's a younger guy.
Yeah.
So you look at him speaking versus even Trump, and it's like, all right, one's looking more like the Crypt Keeper. No
Right.
offense, but
Right. Yeah, Trump's all. He's sweaty and his like skin is hanging off of
getting
him,
that
and he
jowl moving.
Yeah, he just doesn't look good. He looks unhealthy.
And that would be my concern with Biden running again, is that he is like unbearably old, and it's so clear
Yeah.
in everything he does, every appearance he has, any speech he has, things like that. Like, though I think DeSantis is not a great speaker, he looks better
Yeah.
at this point of his life,
Yeah.
know? And
But-
having someone younger and more vibrant, I think, does a lot.
But
for
if
somebody.
if Biden doesn't run, then he leaves it back up to this field of Democrats to try to get reelected, and it's like, I don't think Trump would split the vote enough
No.
that DeSantis wouldn't beat any number of those Democrats right now.
Biden's a safe bet, and they're going to stick with him.
Yeah,
I guarantee it.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
unless some hero comes out from under the woodwork and
it's not happening.
No.
It's not happening. That's the thing. Like,
there's not enough belief in any of these guys or girls yet. They haven't done any. They haven't made a political splash yet. They haven't done anything like Beto.
Beto. Yeah.
He keeps getting beat.
Yeah.
If he beat Ted Cruz, then I would be like, this is the guy.
Sure.
Young, vibrant, good looking, can speak.
Right.
Feel like you can kind of relate to him a little bit more just because he's like almost within your generation.
Yeah. It seems more of an everyman, you know.
Yeah.
He speaks
rolls
our
his
language.
sleeves up. Yeah.
Yeah.
But he can't
curses
beat,
sometimes.
curses
Wow.
sometimes. But he can't beat Ted Cruz.
No.
And it's just like, if you can't beat Ted Cruz, you're not beating
Ted Cruz.
And that's what I'm saying,
I
man.
could beat Ted Cruz.
That's what I'm saying. If you can't beat Ted Cruz, you're definitely not beating DeSantis or Trump. It ain't happening.
Yeah, and I mean you can place blame in a lot of places for that, but I think it falls down to, you know, brass tacks, which is he couldn't beat him.
Who's the other guy? The other young guy, the other young Democrat. I think he was a mayor, gay guy.
Oh, you're making me forget. You're making me forget. Yeah. Yes. I'll look him up. Don't worry. Prominent Democrats.
You know, there's an easier way to get there.
Yeah, there is. I got it on the first try. Oh, Pete Buttigieg.
Pete Buttigieg.
That's right.
I like him.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I don't know much about his policies, but he seems like a pretty coherent man, you know?
Yeah.
So,
I've seen a couple of appearances from him, and I like some of the stuff that I've heard. So,
yeah,
but again, he's another one where it's like, yeah, it's nice.
sure.
It's very beautiful, romantic view of these politicians. Cory Booker being another one.
Sure.
Obviously, Kamala Harris. I know how to say her name. I'm just not gonna say it right. That's how I picture him now. It's no longer the cokehead sniff. He's just
No, and not to derail you, but if you saw his speech, like everyone noticed he was so. He wasn't even doing those like it was very.
He was just burnt out.
Like it was very distinctly low energy.
Yeah. Sometimes somebody needs to just like put a speech in front of the guy and just be like, please just read this. Because there's a part and there's one moment at his rally where he's just like, we're gonna kill the drug dealers.
Yes.
He says he wants the death penalty for drug dealers. And it's like, hey, man, who is asking for that? Even Republicans aren't asking for the death penalty for drug dealers. Even the farthest right-wing guy is not, even the alt-right is not asking for drug dealers to be sentenced to death.
Tell that to the Philippines, my friend. They will murder you for some weed.
Yeah, well, this is America. Mm-hmm. Don't catch you slipping up. I heard that song once or twice. I thought it was pretty good. So yeah, I mean, he's. It's hard to picture how he can swing back to some kind of like before, like when he ran before, not when he lost to Biden, but when he won.
Yeah, 2016.
2016 was when he was. I mean, he made such a political splash.
Right.
It was like everything that he was saying, people were like, yeah, this fucking guy gets it. This is, I know he's kind of rough around the edges. I get it. He's going to say some things. Yeah, but it's like, I want a guy who's going to go there.
America first.
Chappelle said, he said it in his monologue on SNL. He was like,
what was it? He's a true liar or something like
Yeah,
that. He's
yeah.
an honest liar.
An honest liar.
Yeah.
He said,
It's
the
rigged.
system's broken.
Yeah.
And they're like, how do you know it's broken? And he's like, because I use it.
Right.
And everyone was like, oh, shit.
Whoa.
And that's, I mean, it's such a poignant point to make.
And then he went right back in and used it.
Yeah.
And won.
And people just watched him do it. And they were
Yeah.
like, well, I mean, you hear, like, some people, when you talk to them, they're like, instead of addressing the idea of, like, tax breaks and things like that, when it comes to Trump, they're like, well, they got to change the whole system.
Yeah.
If they're not going to change the system, then why wouldn't he use those tax breaks? And it's because the reason people do that is because they would use those tax breaks.
Sure.
Most people would.
Yeah.
I mean, you talk to anybody who has even enough money to try to use any kind of tax loophole.
Yeah.
And if a tax guy told you, like, you know, if you just put your money in this bank account, you won't have to pay any taxes on it. It's a little gray area.
Yeah. I think it's an accountant, Mark.
What did I say?
A tax guy.
Tax guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, tax analyst, crypto guy,
Sure.
Yeah.
They're doing great right now.
finance guy. Go to Walmart, talk to one of these finance peoples.
Yeah. Yeah.
A broker.
A broker. Yes.
Any of those guys.
A shadow broker.
But you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
He spoke for people who I mean, any honest working man who made enough money to even take advantage of those things, they definitely would.
Well, and it's very, again, as you know, as Chappelle said, like, it is very honest, and it is something that, because Trump is somebody that I think a lot of America would aspire to be someday as this, you know, multimillionaire / billionaire, whatever, successful magnate. You know, Trump saying it, of course I don't pay taxes. Only idiots pay taxes. You know, like,
Right.
that is so relatable, because it's like, yeah, I would love not to pay taxes. You
Yeah.
know? And if you are going to help me pay fewer taxes because you actually, you know, are going to throw me a bone if I vote for you, sure.
Yeah.
Here's my vote.
Yeah.
Take it.
Yeah. And why not?
Yeah.
And why not? But now you fast forward to 2022, and that the shine is gone.
Right.
First of all, even if you are the biggest Trump supporter, like, if you're looking at the political landscape, you have to go, yeah, okay, I'm just like playing devil's advocate. Let's just, you know, he got the shaft. The election was stolen.
Sure. Okay.
Even when you look back on his 4 years as a president, like, how much did he really do for you as a Trump supporter?
Yeah.
As somebody who believed in the things that he was talking about. How much did he really do? Right. And I'm not trying to even make like any kind of like political statement. It's a rhetorical question. I'm just wondering out loud, like, how I don't see people who are huge Trump supporters touting all of the incredible things that he did. They just want him back because that was the guy that they believed
it's a
in.
safety
That was,
blanket.
yeah.
Yeah. I will say, I've heard Trump supporters say that, you know, the economy was in better shape.
Yeah, I've seen that.
The state of the world wasn't as crazy as it is today. But a lot of that, to be fair, is out of America's hands. You know, like,
Well, and some of that was happening in the latter part of his presidency. So
right, the pandemic.
Yeah.
Now, in today's day, you know, everything with Russia, like, all these things have had hugely detrimental effects on the world economy, let alone the U.S. economy. So, you know, maybe if you look at his record for creating jobs or whatnot, you can make an argument. But, I mean, I think I agree with you. A lot of it is just, no, that's our guy, and that's who we want. But there's a new guy now.
But there's a new guy.
A new, younger guy
Uh-huh.
who maybe sticks his foot in his mouth a little less often. Even though he yells at children about masks, who now has taken the mantle very unceremoniously, but he's run on the same ideals that Trump has, or very similar ones at very least. The whole thing about, you know, Florida is this beacon of freedom.
Yeah, I mean, if you can say at your acceptance speech or at a rally, I run the place where woke goes to die.
Yeah.
And get a standing, rousing
Right.
ovation for that. You're doing something right,
That's for sure.
you know. As far as they're concerned, you're doing something right. I
Yep.
mean, that's the kind of support you can't buy, man.
Yeah.
You got people, they're in the state like, I'm so glad I live in Florida where we don't have to worry about woke politics and fucking. It's like, man. All right.
Yep.
All right. So it's gonna
I think woke is the new communist.
yeah.
Like it's
yeah.
just a buzzword that gets the people going.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's a devious man. He understands that as soon as he started doing that shit, people responded.
Oh, yeah, of course.
He named he named that like his anti-woke act.
Yeah.
Just took those 4 letters and was like, how can we turn this into an acronym?
Yeah.
I was like, I mean, do we have to, Ron? I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, look what happens whenever I bring it up.
Right. That and the law against protesting. If anyone causes any kind of violence while you're protesting, you can be arrested as a violent protester.
Yeah, that one was a good one for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, so when you go out there and do that kind of shit and people are like, this is the guy.
Oh yeah, brother.
Dude, he's gonna clean up
Yeah.
in the South.
Oh, for sure.
He's gonna fucking crush.
And middle America, because
it's gonna be the same thing as when Biden won. It's gonna be the same thing. The South and Middle America, it's gonna be like blood red.
Yeah.
And then the coastal states will all be blue.
Yeah.
And then it'll be like those like fringe states.
the purple states on the edges.
Yeah. And that's
Yeah.
what's gonna turn the tide. We're gonna be watching with bated breath again.
Right.
Unless again something crazy happens or like Trump takes a larger percentage than we think. And then you're looking at, all 3 of them in there, and Trump's dumb smiling face is popping up in different states where you're like, Trump fucking took Virginia and Trump took Georgia. He's not going to take Florida. He might take Florida.
He's not going to take Florida.
I don't know,
He's
man.
not going to do it. He's not going to do it. I think there's large swaths of Florida that are still Trumpian, but
Trumpian.
at the same time, I really think, I mean, from everything I've seen,
Yeah, DeSantis is
DeSantis has
us too
Florida.
much.
DeSantis has Florida.
Yeah.
So
These people are going to be like, don't make me choose.
the button meme.
Yeah, exactly. Sweating. My 2 favorite people in the world.
Yeah. So,
Ron DeSanctimonious.
sanctimonious. Yeah. I mean, we'll certainly be watching because we won't have any other any other option other than to watch. But it'll be interesting. It'll definitely be interesting. But I for one think that they're gonna run with their new show pony. And that's DeSantis.
Yeah. Yep. Well, I wonder how much Meta is going to get into the political game, the political sphere, if you will.
I mean, they already have. Did you see the notice that there was a memo apparently passed around Facebook, as the arts formerly known as Facebook, saying that they can no longer mark anything with Trump as like false. They can't put those like redactions underneath, or not redactions, but notes that say like the fact checking.
The thing that Twitter's still doing,
Yeah,
Bird Watch or whatever.
right.
They're not going to do that?
That they are not going to do that with Trump stuff because he's now in the running.
I don't understand.
Which makes no sense, right?
Yeah.
Like you would want to do that more.
Right.
But apparently there was a memo internally that went around that said we will not be marking up Trump's speeches, political ads, et cetera, et cetera.
I mean, I think the only thing that I can think of as to the change in policy would be if you're going to let every candidate just die on whatever hill they decide to climb up, and they want to be politically neutral, and
They just want to stay out of it completely.
Yeah.
Because they kind of got in trouble before for that.
yeah.
Okay,
so that
so-
sort of makes sense.
For a quick excerpt from Insider, from Kate Duffy 15 hours ago. Facebook's fact checkers were reportedly told Tuesday they'd have to stop fact checking Donald Trump if he announced he was running for president in 2024, something he did later that day. CNN reported an internal memo from Meta's News Integrity Partnership to Facebook's third-party fact checkers Tuesday, saying if former President Trump makes a clear public announcement that he is running for office, he would be considered a politician under our program policies. Facebook says on its website that politicians are exempt from fact-checking, although they lose this protection once they leave office. Interesting.
They're exempt from fact-checking?
That seems...
They would be the only ones who need to be fact-checked.
Yeah, that seems very backwards.
What kind of... See, and that's why I don't have Facebook. That's one of the reasons why I don't have Facebook, man. It's a dead website that doesn't need to exist anymore. And the reason that it still does is... What's crazy is they're eliminating the thing that they need to be doing for the base that is still on Facebook. Those people who are still religiously using Facebook need Facebook to be fact-checking.
Sure.
They're the ones who are going to see some chainmail post linked 1,000 times over, and when it finally hits their timeline, they're going to take it as fact. They're the people that need to be told what the truth is.
Yeah.
And they're just gonna go, I mean, fuck it.
Yeah.
Let these people just share their gifts and their lies, their memes from 2012.
Uncropped memes. Yeah.
I mean, just an absolute shit show.
Right.
Both Twitter and Facebook. Facebook's been a shit show for the past couple of years, so.
Couple years.
Yeah, well, yeah. I guess
It's been a while.
That's my perception of time when it comes to this stuff. Is
Yeah.
I always think like, I mean, it was a couple years ago that thing happened, and I look it up, and it's like, that happened in 2014. I'm like, Jesus Christ, it's 2022. It's gonna be 2023.
Couple goes up to 15 years.
In my head, a couple is almost 2 decades. Yeah. A couple years ago. It's like 2010.
Sure.
I am afraid for the people who still use Facebook as some kind of news source.
Yeah.
And same goes for the people who use Twitter as some kind of news source.
Yeah.
But at least Twitter has Birdwatch, where they add citations to these tweets. Yeah. Elon gets cited every time he tweets something, which is hilarious that his own website is like, hey, boss, just want to let you know you was wrong.
Please don't fire me. Yeah.
You know, if he could get his hands on whoever's running the team that's at Birdwatch, he would fucking...
Oh, yeah.
I'm surprised he hasn't kicked their fucking door
Gutted.
in and just, yeah.
I mean, it's probably like in the contract that he's not allowed to.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's kind of oversight.
Because it seems like he's done already enough that you would think he would go after Birdwatch. Sure. I mean, the one guy who checked him on Twitter and then he was like, he's fired.
You're fired.
Some fucking rando jumps in. And he's like, doesn't seem like the kind of guy you would want on your team. And he's like, you're fired. Which is,
you know what? You're right.
So crazy, man, that he like, I mean, you know, you've seen the parody tweets where people are like, some random guy with 16 followers, and then the quote is like, I think Elon should take a look at blah, 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 blah. And then Elon, for some reason, this is interesting. I'm taking a look at this. Yeah. He searches his own name.
Yeah.
A lot of times, these aren't tweets where he's added.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's just searching Elon and just reading all day. He just sits and reads the tweets that mention him.
Well, that may not be for long because I don't know if you saw, but he's planning on stepping down and having somebody else take the reins.
Yeah. Which is, I mean, it's so funny. It's just like he's been there for 2 weeks and he's looking around like, I can't do this.
Well, the vanity to step in thinking you're the guy who knows what to do here and not listening to people, instead just going, no, I know better.
Yeah.
Let's do it. And then falling flat on your face time and time again.
Just over and over and over. It was Sideshow Bob stepping on the rakes.
Yeah.
Just over and over
again.
As the credits fade, or it fades to black, and then credits, and just hear, whoop-ah, ow, whoop-ah, and it's just, or no, he goes, whack. And it's just, and if you think that he actually is humble in any way, shape, or form. There's one tweet where he said it himself. He's like, I'm trying to create internet in space. I think I know a little bit more about some engineers who run a website. It's like, oh man,
I think I know a little bit more about the internet.
he's such a dick.
Yeah.
The guy who shares memes from 2016
Sure.
knows a little bit more about the internet.
Let that sink in.
Oh man, watching people try to defend that is so. Watch them like twist themselves into pretzels. Like, well, it's a meta joke about. It's an anti-joke within a joke, and if he didn't do it,
Yeah. Look, man, I liked Elon as much as anybody. I just can't defend him anymore.
No.
It's too much. It's too much. Go home. Stop.
Go home. You're done.
Yeah.
You're done. Give me the ball. You're out.
You're out.
You're out. You're not pitching anymore. Yeah, I mean, I'll say that I was tricked into thinking that he was like this, like, benevolent super genius.
Yeah.
Who just like was like, yeah, I want to create electric cars and windmills and sometimes I'll be cringy on the internet, but it's no big deal.
Sure.
I'm an older guy, kind of out of touch, not from America, so there's a little bit of a barrier there too, where his like sense of humor is a little quirky. I was like, all right, I can deal with that.
Yeah.
And then even before the Twitter thing, it's just like more and more he would do things where you're like, this guy kind of sucks actually. Ugh. Like, I don't know. You just follow him on Twitter and like, it's not funny, cringy, kind of mean, mean spirited.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
I don't like it. Can't do it.
Yeah.
Well, something that they can do, apparently, is bring Biggie Smalls back to life.
Speaking of meta, the geniuses over there at Facebook/Meta are still trying to make that thing work.
Yeah.
You have an Oculus? No, PlayStation VR.
The PlayStation VR. OG PlayStation VR.
And you can't log into Meta, right?
No,
you need an
That's
Oculus.
That's its own thing. Its own platform.
That's its own thing. Which, you know what? Also a flaw in this system. You want every household to use Meta.
Make it an app.
Yeah.
Put it on PlayStation.
Yeah.
Why not?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You really think that I'm going to go out and get a $300, $400 piece of hardware just so that I can log into this social media platform? Are you out of your fucking mind?
Yeah. Well, the thing is, too, like, to be fair, their VR headsets are, I think, the most accessible and probably, don't quote me on this, but probably the best selling.
I'm sure they are.
One of the most popular at very least. I know they got some blowback for having you have to have a Facebook account to log into it. But, I mean, they are by far, I think, the most accessible ones. Especially because, you can get a Meta Quest without having to have a console. It just works, So that's pretty groundbreaking for them. So I can see why they wouldn't necessarily need to do that. But specifically for Meta itself as a platform, they probably should.
Yeah. No, I don't think probably. I think if Mark Zuckerberg wants this thing to be as successful as Facebook once was,
Put it everywhere.
It has to be accessible to, like, Facebook. People can get, as long as they have a phone that can download apps, they can get Facebook. That is the reason it's so popular. That's the reason people in third world countries who don't have shoes have a fucking cell phone that can go on Facebook.
Yeah.
You think those same people are going to have a fucking Oculus Rift or a MetaQuest or whatever it's called now in their house?
Yeah.
Just waiting to jump on this thing that you've created? Like, I mean, how can he, unless there's something in the tea leaves that I'm missing? And hey, I'm not a billionaire, so maybe
What do you know?
Yet.
True.
Maybe there's something I'm missing, or maybe there's something on the horizon that's forthcoming.
Yeah.
But as it stands, I feel like, how can he be so short-sighted as to think like this was the move? They're saying he's hemorrhaging money to keep this thing afloat and to continue doing this thing.
Yeah.
And if he has some kind of world-changing view on this, that he thinks this is going to be like a good thing for society, then more power to a guy who has billions of dollars to lose to actually use that money to create something that he thinks is going to be good for the world. That's good.
Yeah.
But at the same time, again, sell it to me. Sell it to me, the normie, the
Right.
fucking guy, the angry, like, spiteful, normal consumer of these things who has everything else. I have a PS5.
Yeah.
Say I'm not a billionaire. And why can't I should be able to use my PS5 to get on Meta, right? Isn't that what you want?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I don't want VR. But if you want your thing to be as successful as Facebook, or maybe they don't want it to be as successful as Facebook, but then what do they want? What does Mark
do you
Zuckerberg
want?
want from this thing? You
Well,
know?
it seemed like they wanted it to be like almost like a hub for your entire life. A little bit of everything for everyone. Because this topic that we're talking about right now is a virtual concert,
Yeah.
which you can actually experience outside of the Quest, outside of VR even.
Yeah.
They're making it available in 2D on
Ugh, stinky 2D.
gross, on the official Notorious B.I.G. Facebook page.
Yeah.
So, like it's clearly possible to do these things outside of VR and make it accessible to people without VR headsets. But
Right.
how much they want to do that, I don't know.
Yeah, God, I hate it. I hate the idea of like sitting at your computer desk with those two little things in your hand and a fucking headset on your face and just logged into this virtual reality world just to walk up to some like engineer who's like, right this way
Without legs,
to the Biggie yeah.
just float.
Oh God.
Hello, this is my avatar.
Why didn't they just wait another couple of years, man? Like the jokes write themselves. It looks like shit.
Yeah. Or why didn't they get a proper like video game studio
Yeah.
to make this thing?
Yeah.
Because there are people out there who could have done something with it.
Yeah.
I would think.
Even the Steam like VR playground things. I forgot what the big one is. Like the VR chat that everybody jumps on.
Yeah.
Even that one, like people can create their own avatars and stuff, and like you see like anime characters and
Yeah.
fucking the
Cat people.
yeah. Even that, like obviously you don't want to give people that much access
the
because then
Frog.
they'll come in making all kinds of crazy shit.
Yeah.
And I don't know, man. I don't know. You just let people to their own devices, you're going to get people doing crazy shit. And so,
Well, you need guardrails, but you also need to make it a platform that is deep enough for people to express themselves and also find something interesting and worthwhile to engage with. Because otherwise, it's like, why would I waste the time to do this?
yeah.
Why would I do this when I could jump on a Skype call? Like,
Right. Like right now, if everyone, let's say in a perfect world, everyone has a Meta Quest. They should have called it Oculus Meta. I think there was a lot of brand recognition with Oculus Rift. That
Yeah.
sounds cool.
Yeah, it
Meta
does.
Quest sounds stupid.
Yeah. Sounds softer, right?
Yeah, Meta Quest. I don't like it. Oculus Rift sounds like space exploration.
That's some Mountain Dew stuff.
Yeah, fuck yeah. That's Baja Blast.
Yeah.
Oculus Rift. I imagine like a star exploding.
Oculus rips, bro.
Yeah. I imagine Oculus Rift is the name of a spaceship,
Yeah.
you know? So let's say in a perfect world, everyone has a Quest. Now what? Is in their world the amount of time that I spend on social media supplanted by the time that I spend in Meta?
Right.
Because do you like the convenience, obviously, of social media is I can be talking to you and then just, oh, look, there's notifications from Instagram. And I can just, boop, jump in, respond, jump back out. We can continue our conversation.
Right.
What's the idea with Meta? That I put aside like 3 to 4 hours of my day to just be on this thing? Like, what is the end result? I know that we were supposed to talk about Biggie, but we haven't really talked about Meta. And now that you got me going, I'm just really, I can't let, I gotta really
What's the
Rubik's Cube
purpose?
this one, man.
What's the purpose? Yeah, because I mean, even with something that's dedicated to solely video gaming, like the PlayStation VR, the way that you make a game for that is generally not a game that involves you playing for hours on end.
Right.
It's small bite-sized segments that you can play in, I don't know, maybe half-hour time frames, because after that time, your eyes, your head, your hands, if you have to stand up, your feet, get a little fatigued, and you want to break. Or, even some of the most successful VR games are 5 minutes a pop,
Yeah.
and then you jump back out and then have somebody else play, or take a break and then jump back in.
Yeah.
Like, VR at this point isn't so easy and seamless that people can spend hours on end in it. Mm-hmm. We're not there yet. When it becomes like a pair of sunglasses you put on with earbuds, maybe a different story. But where it's at right now, even with the Quest, the Quest 2 is super seamless. It's just the headset and the hand controls, and that's it. You don't need a console. You don't need a PC. You just put it on, and you're able to play. Incredible. It's great.
Yeah.
But even that alone is like, it takes you out of your environment. It makes it really awkward when other people are around. Unless that's like your activity for the night.
Yeah.
And just pass around the Quest. But
Yeah. Can you imagine being in the living room and you like got the headset on and they're like, "What's Brian doing?" And it's like, "Oh no, he's just he's on Meta right now."
he's like this.
Yeah, that's what would happen too.
I know. I didn't think anything was in there. Yeah. It's I don't know. There's a lot in the way of VR becoming this ubiquitous thing.
Yeah.
Could it get there? Yeah, it could. I mean, we were alive for the jump for what VR was in like the 90s.
Yeah.
Compared to where it became today, which is a monumental jump.
Yeah.
So give it another 20 years and maybe we'll get there. Where it is right now is not there, though.
Right.
And I think Meta is counting their eggs before they hatch.
Yeah, there really is no telling where it could get to. It's just right now it just feels like what do they want in the short term?
Yeah.
In the long term, anything's possible. But in the short term, what are people supposed to be doing? And that's what I'm still confused about.
Yeah.
Even after we've talked about this, I'm still at a loss of like, if Mark Zuckerberg walked in here today and handed us both quests, what do we do with them after like 10, 15 minutes? I'm not going to sit here for an hour just walking around Meta.
No.
Because even when, we got to play around with VR headsets, like when you got one and when anytime that I've ever been able to just use one, it's like it's a fun experience. It's a fun, cute little thing to do for like 10, 15 minutes or like pass it around to everybody and we all like give a turn and like play games and stuff on there. But like after a while, it's just like, all right,
It's
my
exhausting.
head hurts. I feel
It's
weird.
exhausting
My
after a
stomach
while.
kind of hurts. I'm
Yeah.
they're still not really built for people who wear glasses. Like this kind of a weird fit when you put them on with your glasses.
I do appreciate that Oculus had that dial that
Yeah.
you could, if you do have prescription glasses, you could adjust it to your eyesight, essentially.
Yeah, that's nice.
That was good.
Yeah.
And the PSVR has enough space generally that you can wear glasses while you're in it.
Yeah, not too cumbersome.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Yeah. The only problem is you get a little foggy. I will say that.
Yeah,
Especially when you're playing Beat Saber.
it's just a lot of breathing and sweating.
Sweating.
Just
Yeah. No more dubstep, please.
well, I guess there's a lot on the horizon. Just okay. As far as the Biggie thing is concerned, please just let it go. Let's just let the guy die and be dead. And
I will say though, I do appreciate that they went to, and I'm sure they had to, Biggie's estate, and apparently it has his mom's approval.
no, that makes it even worse, in my opinion. It's nice that they didn't just steal his corpse,
Right,
But
all I'm saying is I'm glad that like they're getting money.
yeah,
Like that's and I have a quote from Variety here from Valletta Wallace saying, having the ability to create a variance of new opportunity to showcase my son Christopher's music Through the advancement of technology, it's hard for me to grasp at times. However, I found so much excitement in the process of developing his avatar, understanding the value added for fans, to experience him in ways unattainable until now. Thank you to all who have contributed to bringing this project to fruition. So it's like, you can tell that it just feels like she's doing it kind of begrudgingly, not really knowing what's going on.
Yeah, she seems like a mom who doesn't. She's an older woman. She doesn't really understand what's happening. And
Yeah.
some like engineers approached her, or approached Diddy, who approached her,
Right.
and was like, "We have this cool idea."
Check this out.
And they probably showed her like a mock-up of it, and she probably was hesitant. And then when they showed her the check, she was probably like, "You know what? Let's." Because here's my thing, and I don't mean to disrespect Valletta. I don't mean that she's like this money hungry person. I just mean that like the only value from something like this is in the check. Because who of Biggie's fans is like, man, I just wish that I could log into Meta and see him in virtual reality. Right. The thing with Pac was cool because it was at Coachella and it was a surprise and it looked really good. But at the end of the day, it was like, I'm not gonna spend money to watch a hologram go on tour.
No.
You know, I'm not going to spend money to watch this. If Biggie showed up at like Lollapalooza or something, I'd be like, all right, that's a fun idea, I guess. Right. That's a nice tribute to the man and what have you. But like, I'm not going to spend money to go see a hologram tour. No. If like, and I just listened to Life After Death the other day, all the way through. I love Biggie. I love Biggie.
It's gross. It's gross. It's really gross.
Yeah.
It feels icky. The only silver lining in this is that the money's going to the
estate.
The
Biggie's estate.
Yes.
Yeah.
Biggie's estate. So
yes, that's good.
That's good. I'm glad his family's getting money for this.
Yeah. Well, and the thing that when I think about that is like Biggie's life was cut so short that he is not here to provide for his family. Right. And so if this is a way for them to be able to, because there's only so many times you can reissue 2 albums.
Sure.
You know, so if I
and
get
with Biggie,
that.
there weren't many like B-sides and unreleased material.
Right. So. And the stuff that has been done to death.
Yeah.
So it's like you can't even use some of the cutting room floor stuff because they've used it all.
Right.
So, I mean, the well has run dry as far as music is concerned. And so I get that, like, it's the best that you can do with somebody who's famous, an artist, and somebody whose visage is enough of a selling point. So I get that. I'm not discounting her on that one. Because like you said, like, it's good that it's going to her. It's just, it sucks, you know? Yeah. So. And, like, far be it for me to be like, don't do that. Because it's her choice.
Sure, yeah. It's totally.
It's her son. It's her family.
Yeah.
But it's like, don't do it. If a Biggie fan's opinion means anything, stop this. Yeah. Please stop doing these things.
Or, get that check, mama.
Or get that check, mama.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else?
Nah.
All right. Well, then, before we get out of here, we got to do our cheers of the week.
I need another beer.
I think so. I got more in mine. All right. And I have a feeling that our cheers is going to be the same.
Probably.
So let's just double clink it up.
Okay.
Cheers of the week
goes to
Kevin Conroy. No? Oh, man. I misread it then. What's your cheers of the week?
He deserves it more than mine.
Are we going to do yours next week?
No.
What was yours going to be?
King's Disease 3.
Oh, actually, okay, that's okay. They don't work together, but
I know. No, I did initially want to do at least a nod to Kevin Conroy.
Yeah.
But King's Disease 3 is just really good.
So let's do this. The cheers goes to Kevin Conroy.
Yes.
And then an acknowledgement of King's Disease after the fact.
Sure.
Of just like a must listen to.
Yeah.
Because I agree, by the way. So let's do King's Disease first.
Okay.
And then we'll end with Kevin.
Perfect. Yeah, I know we were talking, I think off mic, about King's Disease in general, and sort of how surprisingly rejuvenating it's been for Nas. Mm-hmm. And this like sort of late era run for him has been something that we don't get very often with rappers in general.
Yeah.
And with someone as, mind you, as a Nas fan myself, as spotted of a career he's had, it's just so cool that he's had, I would say, 3 of some of his best records in this part of his career.
I'd go so far as to say 4. I remember I put Magic up there.
Oh, you're right.
I think Magic is just as good as King's Disease 1 and 2.
But because so I listened to King's Disease 3 went right when it dropped, and then went back and re-listened to the first 2.
Yeah.
And I found it is such a cohesive work of art that is really interesting as a package itself. You know, like together. It has similar motifs, obviously similar instrumentation, given the production work.
Handled by one man, Hit Boy,
right? And I just find it such an interesting project from an artist who you think you've heard it all from, and it being this sort of what I interpret to be sort of an observation of aging, resting on your laurels, and surpassing what the limitations that you think aging would give you. Not to reproduce what you did in the past necessarily, but to reflect on it and do something new with it.
Yeah.
And I just think it's so refreshing. And specifically King's Disease 3, I know it's recency bias, but I feel like maybe the strongest of the 3.
Yeah.
Not taking Magic into account. I love it. I thought it was incredible top to bottom, just like he's rapping. Mm-hmm. It's so good. The beats are incredible. Mm-hmm. Some of the best he's rapped on, which is saying a lot.
Yeah.
And very observant and very, I don't know, like reflective, I think is the word I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Of his career, of the world. And I just thought it was well worth a cheers of the week.
Heard.
Yeah.
I posed the question to in our group chat with Juan. Shout out to Juan, friend of the show. If King's Disease 3, once it released, because this was before it came out, if it was even good, not great, if it was even just good, what would it do for his legacy? Would he be able to surpass Jay as like the consummate number 1?
Yeah.
Best GOAT, all time, best rapper alive, right? And Juan was quick to shut that down, by the way. And he was like, no way. Because Nas's career, his mid-career, is so spotty that it's hurt his legacy enough that there's not much that he can do to pass Jay at this point, because Jay's been more consistent. He didn't say it this wordy, obviously, but that was the point that he made. I disagree with that. I think that I think their careers are both still ongoing, and as long as they're still current, as long as they're still in the game, as long as they're still releasing stuff, then their legacy is that of everything that they've done before and everything that they continue to do.
Yeah.
Their legacy doesn't end because they hit a point in our minds where now it's nostalgic and we reflect on their careers. Because if we were, for Nas, for me, it would have stopped at Godson. Mm-hmm. And then all of this would have been like post-career stuff. Yeah. But that just takes out so many good records.
Yeah.
And you can't look at Jay and go, look what he did with 444, and not look at Nas and go, look what he's done with King's Disease 1 through 3.
Yeah.
You know, you have to take the whole of their careers into account.
Yeah.
And so for me, I've been struggling with this. I've really been struggling with, is Nas the best to ever do it?
Yeah.
Because in my head, Jay has always been head and shoulders clear number one.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Me too. I grew up thinking, I mean, in my heart, knowing that Nas was superior. That was my stance from day one. It's like, Jay is this guy who just is kind of above it all, and he's not even really trying. He just flows on stuff, and that's fine. But he's this money cash hose guy. But Nas is a real rapper. He is real hip hop.
Right.
You know. Mm-hmm. And I had that stance for a very long time, and then the Black album came out, and I was like,
I made a mistake.
Let me change my tune. And then I went back and I started to understand. You know, I did my homework, got into reasonable doubt, and started to really listen, as opposed to just being like, yeah, I know this song's about champagne and, you know, being on a yacht or whatnot. But
Yeah,
you know,
whatnot.
listening and appreciating hip hop for more things than just lyrical content, which Jay has, you know, a lot of as well.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to take that away from him. So where I sit today, right here
On this couch.
this
Casting couch.
I do I do think that Jay still has the legacy, but this recent run by Nas definitely tips the scales a little bit.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So if we can look back in another 20 years and really evaluate on a flat table, you know, it may be closer than you think.
Yeah. 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 I think if Jay puts out one more album of like 444 or anything even close. I mean, technically, if you like look at the Jay Electronic album and you go, yeah, he was doing his thing on that too. You're
Yeah.
like, fuck, man, he's he's another guy who's just like, how is he still this good for this long?
Yeah. Which I love the fact that we're now getting rappers, first of all, who live this long.
Yeah.
But secondly, are still prolific and can still be creative in this field that has been relegated to 20-year-olds for the past 30 years.
Yeah.
You know, like
most of its existence has been, people always say rap is a young man's game.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it really does feel like there's now this subgenre of like, there's always been a subgenre of like adult hip hop, quote unquote, but it's been looked at as corny. And now it's kind of getting into this place where people are starting to really understand, like, you know, all like you keep complaining about rap and that there's not this, that they're not making music for you. And, you know, you only listen to 90s hip hop. You're Mr. Cool Guy. I only listen to 90s hip hop. Okay, well,
purist.
there is a full subset of artists who are in their early to late 30s, some guys in their 40s, some guys pushing 50, and they're still making not old school hip hop, like straight up just good music.
Yeah.
And if you stop viewing it as this thing that has now passed you by, and you can't listen to the new guys, but you don't want to listen to the old guys, you want to continue to sit in your time bubble.
Yeah.
That's on you, but there's like a full, I mean, Run the Jewels, Jay and Nas, the Griselda guys, I mean, all of the, Euro Droog, Mac Hami, Boldy James, I mean, I'm spacing on, I mean, I listen to, there's so many guys. There's so many guys and
So
girls.
many old
There's
men.
so many old men. No, a lot of guys are just making like the kind of music that when I hear people complaining about hip hop, it's like, yeah, but there's so many different artists that you could be listening to that you just choose not to because you don't want to put the work in. When you hear somebody complain about the radio, it's like, for real, bro? What year is it?
Right.
And I mean, not even on some like, oh, you gotta listen to the underground. It's like, what are you talking about?
Saying that you listen to the radio ages you in
Yeah.
general.
There's nothing that ages you more.
Yeah.
Dude, I listened to the radio the other day because my Bluetooth was messed up in my car. Did I tell you this?
The only excuse.
I-
No, you didn't tell me that.
Okay, so I literally turned the radio on in my car from my crib to yours to do the podcast, actually,
Right.
and listened to nothing but ads the entire ride there.
Rough.
I'm not even bullshitting you.
Yeah.
I was listening, like one song was at the tail end, and then it was like, and then nothing but commercials
Yeah.
for my entire ride.
Nice.
And then on my way back, silence because I couldn't do it again. I just
20
couldn't
minutes
do
of
it
ads.
again.
Yeah.
And so yeah, if you're still one of these guys who's talking about fucking the radio, it's like, man,
My radio.
you got different problems.
Yeah.
So yeah, King's Disease 3, obviously highly recommend. Need to listen to it. Yeah, I don't know. There's nothing much else to say about it. It's just like it's an incredible album.
Check it out.
17 tracks, one producer, no features.
Yeah.
Who else can do that? Who else can do that?
It's great.
There's only a handful of artists on this planet who are making music who can do 17 songs
Yeah.
by themselves and it'd be a good record. Even Nas at one point couldn't do that.
Yeah. It's true.
You know?
Yeah.
So, all right. Our cheers.
True. Cheers.
True
of the week.
cheers to
Conroy.
Kevin Conroy. Rest in peace. Passed away after a short battle with cancer.
Mm-hmm.
The quintessential voice of the Batman.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, a long, storied career on stage, radio shows, voice acting, normal, just live action acting. But, I mean, nothing comes close to what he did as Batman.
Sure.
Over
Iconic.
100 credits.
Yeah.
He did
Video games.
movies,
TV.
everything that they asked him to do, he was there to do. And what's really funny, when I saw how many credits he actually has as Batman,
Yeah.
made me think about all the other times that Batman made an appearance where I'm like, why didn't you just get Kevin Conroy? He obviously wasn't saying no.
Right.
He was doing everything that they asked him to do.
Do yourself a favor. Hire Kevin Conroy.
Seriously.
Please.
Can you imagine now? I mean, I hate to frame it this way, but can you imagine like having created or did your own Batman story and then you got just like, I don't know, some guy to be Batman and Kevin Conroy was just sitting right there like, why didn't you just ask me?
Well, and that's the thing too, that it's a question that was posed on Twitter is like, we're going to feel his the void of his absence. Yes. In the coming video games and TV shows and movies that come out with Batman without his voice. Mm-hmm. Because for me, growing up, anytime it wasn't Kevin Conroy, I was like, well, this isn't canon.
Yes. Yes. It's a
like-
different Batman if it's not Kevin Conroy.
Immediately.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's not Batman. Kevin
Yeah.
Conroy's Batman.
Yeah.
Come on now. Mm-hmm. Like, you cheaped out, or he didn't want to be a part of this thing.
Yeah.
So that means I don't really care about it as much.
Yeah.
So
Agreed.
it's just, I mean, it is such a monumental loss for the character and for media at large to not have him there anymore. And, it's very easy to overlook the voice actors that make up your life, your childhood.
Yeah.
But yeah, to think about the full scope of work that he was a part of, from the animated series to the Arkham games, like, I said this on Twitter, but he is, in my opinion, the ultimate Batman. Like, he's the best interpretation of Batman. I can't think of a more perfect mix of like heart and scariness, and that sort of like deep tenor that he had that was intimidating but could also be really warm. And it's definitely going to leave a hole in the future Batman projects. And apparently was a great guy in real life too.
That's what everybody has said.
Yeah.
I mean, if he was younger when he started doing the role, they could have done a live action with him too.
Yeah,
You know? I mean, good looking guy enough to have done the movie.
Yeah.
You know?
Looked really tall.
Yeah, he seemed like an imposing figure if
Yeah.
he wanted to be. I mean, that voice mixed with the height.
Oh my god, yeah.
Yeah. Probably couldn't have done the stunts. He seemed like a traditional actor, like a thespian.
A theater actor.
Yeah, theater man.
Incredible voice though.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, it's man, I don't even want to. I mean, what do you do? You know, because here's the thing. There's some iconic characters that get replaced, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I'll say Mark Hamill, for instance. His Joker is just as iconic as Kevin Conroy's Batman. But I will say there are some guys who at least nail an impression of Mark Hamill's Joker. It's never as good, and you can always tell that it ain't Mark Hamill.
Yeah.
But sometimes you're like, you know what, that was pretty good.
Yeah.
I want to say not Tony Baker. That's the comedian. Who's the something Baker, the voice actor, big voice actor who does a lot of PlayStation. Troy Baker. Troy Baker. Troy Baker's Joker.
Yeah.
is really good.
Yeah.
John DiMaggio, the guy who does Jake the Dog and Bender.
Yeah.
His
Yeah.
Joker's actually pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, they're different.
Sure.
But they work within their. But with Kevin Conroy, man, I mean, it's just like you said. His voice was canon. Everybody else was like, that's just a guy.
Yeah.
That's just a guy, talented enough. No disrespect to those guys. Their interpretations are good, but they're just his was definitive.
Yeah.
So it's I mean, I think if we're thinking of solutions, and I'll leave it at this, you got to get one guy and make him Batman.
Yeah.
Stop with you can't be a different Batman in this property, on this video game, and this like it can't be all over the place.
Yeah.
You got to get the one guy,
Right.
and let him like take the mantle or the cowl. You out of here? Yeah. You don't have to sneak around. Oh, nice.
Nice. All right, man. See ya.
That was Robin. That's what happens. That's what happens on the One Beer and podcast.
Yeah.
You know, it's a little behind the scenes magic. Anyway,
He was the cameraman the entire time.
he's the one who had his dick out.
God.
That's called a callback, baby,
It's bad when you give a face to the dick. You can't. Do
or a dick to the face.
Ew.
Ow.
Well, that's a fitting conclusion to memorial.
Rest in peace, Kevin Conroy.
Rest in place.
Rest in peace.
Rest in place, baby.
All right. Let's review these beers and get out of here.
Let's do it.
All right. Tonight's brew was from Swamphead Brewery. It's their Sun Showers, a session sour ale with papaya.
Papaya and
Papaya.
pineapple.
What'd you think, Obi?
I love this beer. This is maybe
You're
my
fucking crushing it.
this is maybe my favorite session I've ever had.
Wow.
The papaya comes through, the pineapple comes through for me. It is very, as you can see, very crushable.
Very.
Very light. And I think it's so refreshing to have something like this as a seasonal fall release to break through all of the pineapple, or not pineapple, the pumpkin stuff. Yeah, I mean it's great. I love it. I gotta do it. I'm gonna give it a 6.
Wow.
I think it's great. It is my now the favorite session.
Come here.
For me.
Come here. You got to get on camera. It's a 6. Come here. Come on. Come on. Come on. Oh, he doesn't want to move.
He doesn't want to do it.
Look at
Don't do a puppy dog face. Oh. No.
Sorry.
Father, no.
He's like, is this what you wanted? 6 out of 6 for the Sun Showers from Swamp Head.
Swamp Head.
I'm going to give it a 5. I'm gonna give it a 5. It's still, I don't know. I just don't really dig fruited beers. Obviously, we don't do a lot of them on the show.
Sure.
And I'm still trying to get into like fruited sours and things like that. And sometimes I have some stuff that like really, really, blows my mind. Like I've had some like Cantillon stuff or some like lambics where I'm like, holy shit, this is delicious. Like some framboise and things like that. But for the most part, I'm like doesn't really do much for me. That being said, even at the top of the show, we were like making a session a sour is a smart choice because it's light-bodied, easy drinking.
Yep.
And if you are good enough to have those fruit notes come through and still have it be light and easy drinking, you got yourself a winner. So I think it deserves a 6 from your standpoint. I think I'm still going to give it a 5.
Sure. I respect
But
it.
I think this is a winner. I think they knocked it out of the park with this.
Yeah.
It's good. It's
It
very
makes
good.
it makes perfect sense to have the sweetness of a pineapple and a little bit of sour with the papaya and stuff
Papaya.
to come out and not just taste like a watered down beer, which for me sessions tend to be.
Yeah.
Especially like session IPAs.
Not
a fan.
Get them out of here.
Not a fan.
Get them out of here. What's
So-
the point?
Yeah. Very refreshing. I enjoy this quite a bit.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's a 6 out of 6, a perfect score for Obi, and a 5 out of 6 from myself. You think we got it?
I know we got it.
You think we got it? Okay. Well, this has been the One Beer In podcast for myself, Marco Dupa, for Adam Obesius Rodriguez.
Buddy.
Thank you guys for listening. Drink delicious beer and have yourselves a beautiful evening.